A look at my general CDs, part 4. Ahoy everybody, and welcome to the next in my series of videos looking at my collection, or on my music collection, or on my CD collection, and on my general CDs. So these basically aren't any signed CDs, which I've looked at separately, any Prince and related artist CDs, which I've looked at separately, and any box sets I've looked at separately, and compilations and soundtracks I've looked at separately. Yeah, I think that's it. So these are just normal CDs by artists. When an artist releases an album, those CDs. As I mentioned at the start of part 1, these used to be in alphabetical order. For various reasons they're not anymore, but you will find big chunks of the same artist in these next few videos, particularly in this part, I believe. But without any more ado, let's get cracking. And first up we have Robbie Williams' Sing When You're Winning. This is the re-release celebrating Robbie's 20 years in music. So it has the album on CD and it also has a DVD with loads of TV appearances on Top of the Pops and Later and the MTV Music Awards and Parkinson and various other bits in there. Probably is between this and Escapology, between which is my favourite Robbie album. It swings both ways. Probably towards this, but I think when I showed you Escapology I said that was, so anyway. An album I absolutely love. This is Blind Melon's self-titled debut album. I discovered Blind Melon when I saw them supporting Guns N' Roses at Milton Keynes Bowl in 1993. August I think it was, not that it matters. And just fell in love with them straight away. So came home and bought their album straight away on cassette, because that's all I had at the time. As soon as I got a CD player, I bought this, which is a limited edition double digipack, and it contains the album and then a separate CD which is B-sides and live tracks. Well, it's live tracks that were used as B-sides, sorry, I should say. And it's also got some postcards in here as well. The only problem is it's packaging that has encouraged disc rot. So I think I managed to rip them to my computer before they got too bad, but I do need to get another copy of that. Then on to The Darkness. So this is their debut album, Permission to Land. There was a lot of hype about The Darkness when they first appeared on the scene, and I sort of read that hype and was excited. And I heard I Believe in a Thing Called Love, which obviously is a masterpiece. And then I saw them supporting Robbie Williams at Nebworth, and they just wowed me. So I've been a fan ever since. I have all their albums. I don't think they bettered Permission to Land, but all their albums are very enjoyable, and I'm going to see them live in December, which I'm looking forward to. But yeah, as I say, this is their debut album. It's got I Believe in a Thing Called Love and Get Your Hands Off My Woman and Growing on Me, and all the tracks to me stand out because it's just a brilliant album. This is their second album, One Way Tickets to Hell and Back, which is their post-drug album, possibly their weakest album. It has a couple of good moments, but probably their weakest. This is Hot Cakes, which I believe is their third album. I'm not quite sure on the chronology. The last few I've got signed copies of, so I've already shown them. But again, this is a strong album, but doesn't compare to Permission to Land. This is an album I absolutely love. This is David Arnold's Shaken Not Stirred James Bond project. So David Arnold, at this time, hadn't started his work on the Bond films, but he was a big Bond fan and a fan of John Barry in particular. So he was a film composer. He'd done Stargate and Godzilla, I think, at this stage. 1997 this was. But he got loads of famous people to join him in covering Bond songs. David McCalmont's brilliant version of Diamonds Are Forever. Amy Mann doing Nobody Does It Better. Left Field's version of the Space March from You Only Live Twice is genius. As is Pulp's All Time High. Shara Nelson's Moonraker is lovely. LTJ Bookam's The James Bond theme's very good. Chrissie Hynde doing Live and Let Die is excellent. Martin Fry's doing Thunderball is very good. Natasha Atlas's From Russia With Love is very different from the original, but really enjoyable. And Propellerhead's On Her Majesty's Secret Service is just genius. And Iggy Pop doing We Have All the Time in the World is excellent as well. But a really good album, that. Okay, we're going to have a run of Bowie here. In more or less chronological, for certainly this stack. So this is I Dig Everything, the 1966 Pie singles. So this is a little EP really. It's only 6 tracks of the singles that Bowie released on Pie pre-fame. Obviously they don't compare to his later work, but there's certainly some good stuff on here. Can't Help Thinking About Me's really good. Then this is the Duran anthology. So after Pie, he joined Deram, or Duran, however you want to say it, and released a load more songs, again with little success. Although one of the tracks was The Laughing Gnome, which was re-released in, I think it was 75, and was a huge hit. And the last track on here is Space Oddity, which obviously was the song that launched him into public awareness or consciousness. But yeah, there's 27 tracks on there of his early stuff. Then this is what is generally considered the first real David Bowie album. It was initially called just David Bowie, but then it was renamed Space Oddity, and that sort of became canon. And it's when he starts becoming really good. There's A Man Who Sold the World. All these are the EMI remasters from 1999, around then. I picked them up. I had the Bowie Singles Collection CD, which you will see at some point, and enjoyed that. And sort of that was sufficient for me. But then I saw him live at Net Aid charity concert and was just staggered by just the genius of a man, and went out and got all his albums basically. I now, as you possibly have seen if you watch all my videos, have the recent box sets that they're releasing of all the albums. So these are really superfluous, and if I run out of space, these will probably be moved elsewhere. But yes, this is The Man Who Sold the World. Again, just really, really good album. My favourite Bowie album, Hunky Dory. You may have seen I recently picked this up on vinyl. The Genius of Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders of Mars, or The Rise and Fall of Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders of Mars. Just another masterpiece. Aladdin Sane, not quite as good, but still really, really good. Pin-Ups, which I've never particularly been a fan of. There's a couple of good tracks on here, but most of them pale to the originals. Diamond Dogs, love this album. Young Americans, love this album. Station to Station, really love this album. Low. I appreciate the Berlin trilogy more than enjoy them, if that makes sense. I think it's, although I like the instrumentals very much, I think as an album listening experience, I'd rather maybe they were interspersed with the songs rather than having the side of each. but that's, you know, that's nitpicking. It's still a wonderful, amazing album, but as I say, I don't enjoy it as a listening experience quite as much as the earliest bits. Heroes, again, the same applies, although it's got Heroes on it, which is just one of the best songs ever written. Lodger, again, definitely the weakest of the Berlin trilogy, but some really good stuff on it. And as I say, this is all just nitpicking, it's all genius. Scary Monsters, again, really, really strong album. This isn't in that series of reissues. I got this a bit later and couldn't get the... Or this is the version I came across anyway. This is Let's Dance. I like this album a lot, but I think there's a couple of tracks on there that I could do without. I mean, Modern Love is actually one of my favourite Bowie songs. They've got China Girl, Let's Dance, Cat People, Putting Out the Fire. Are all excellent. Ricochet's good. The other three are... this is the original soundtrack to Christiane F., a German film that Bowie appeared in and contributed to the soundtrack of, and these are basically all tracks that are on other albums, but it has got the Heroes Helden, which is... he recorded Heroes in German and French, I think it was French, as well as obviously in English, and they release in those countries as, you know, in those languages, but they also, in Germany, was sort of an amalgamation where it starts in English and then goes into German, and that's on here, which at the time wasn't available elsewhere on CD. I mean, this is Stage, the live album from the Heroes era, which the first side, disc 1, is pretty much all Berlin songs. Disc 2 is more pop, you know, the hits. It's a good listen. How are we doing for time? Okay, I'm going to call it a shot there, because I've waffled a bit more than I intended to on those. So thank you for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. You can watch past parts on my playlist. You can watch future parts on my playlist. And I'll see you in another video. Thanks. Bye.